I've got one that can see. See.
Welcome to 3NN Podcast with your hosts with the most, Nick Tesla and Brian McFadden.
Is Alfred?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 3NN Podcast. My name is Nick Tesla. His name is
Brian McFadden.
And we're here to just let you know. We got to figure that one out. We're not here to just let you know.
We're here to crack your head wide open.
No, we're not here to crack your head wide open like an egg on a Saturday morning. We moved past that, Brian.
But we're still going to do that.
Letting everybody know that nothing is impossible. But we got to figure out a way. How about, you know what? We're here. No, we're not here.
Nothing's impossible when your head's cracked open.
No, we're here to be the parachute for your mind.
Ooh.
And let it open up and save you from your own self-destruction. That's just too long, though. I don't fucking know.
Nah, that doesn't work. We need to come up with something better.
Oh, fucking no.
Anybody, any suggestions for our little tagline here?
Hey, BoobTube, let us know. BoobTube, let us know what's going on out there. Give us some suggestions on a tagline. If you can give us a tagline, you will win a 3NN Podcast T-shirt.
Yay!
If we choose to use your tagline, and that's completely up to us. But hey, you could win a T-shirt, so give us a tagline. Hey, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. So we got a few different things to touch on. I'd like to call this the ketchup and mustard episode. It's catching up on some things that I guess we wanted to touch on. I know I needed to touch on. And
bunch of random things.
Oh, this is the most random sauce episode you're probably going to hear of 3NN. But I don't want anybody to feel like, oh, well, they're not going to touch on. No, we got a lot to pack your brain with today. Today is one of those episodes where we are going to pack information inside your brain tighter than sardines in a can. That's how tight we're getting that shit. All right, we're gonna pack the information into your brain like like a well-hung porn star packing it into a tiny Chinese chick's butthole.
Okay, I think you took it too far.
Okay, maybe I did. All right, moving on. All right. NPR style here. NPR. All right, we're talking like NPR here. I'd like to whisper the news to you if I could.
We're going to
David Cameron said Russell Brand's a joke. David Cameron can eat shit and die. All right, so first thing that we're going to get into, right?
That sounded like a terroristic threat.
No, that was not a terroristic threat. I did not say that I will make him eat my shit and die. I will just say that I would prefer if he ate shit and died.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for clarifying that in the interest of the fairness doctrine.
And Obama also said Baltimore soul searching is needed, but whatever. Oh, yeah, by the way, Baltimore's burning to the ground as we speak. But
it's a beautiful thing. Major League Baseball first. We broke it about an hour ago.
Yeah, we did. It
was Major League Baseball. By the time you're hearing this, will have already started playing its first game ever closed to the public.
Yeah, that should be interesting,
Baltimore.
Bro. That should be interesting. But I don't know. It should be interesting what happens. I'm more interested to just watch a game with no fans and a damn audience. That should be good B-roll footage. Maybe not B-roll footage, but good stock footage.
It'll be interesting.
For if society, something were to happen to society, or there was some plague or pandemic with society, but sports continue to go on, you know? I could see somebody making a freaking stupid movie and using that as their footage for all of society is gone, except for the sports players and celebrities and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't know. I'm going off the deep end with it, bro. Going off the deep end. And hey, our thoughts and our prayers go out to the people of Nepal and the earthquake in Nepal. Anybody who's got relatives in Nepal and anybody who is in Nepal, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. We hope that the least amount of people die as possible.
I guess that's the best way to say it.
It's the best way I can say it. I hope that the least amount of people die as possible, and I hope that anybody out there, that anybody out there who has suffered a loss finds a way to find peace. Because when the Earth takes somebody, there's nobody to really be mad at. You know, it's just like, it's kind of like...
Yeah.
It's like if you've seen these videos of... I've seen a few videos
I guarantee
actually.
you right now there's somebody somewhere sitting there saying, "Blame Harp, the Navy did it."
What?
I guarantee you. Somebody somewhere in the
oh,
United States is sitting there saying, "No, it wasn't the Earth, it was Harp."
Yeah, no, my mind was thinking about the people and how shit can just happen, you know, and yeah,
It didn't just happen, Nick.
there are
Harp
people saying
did
that,
it was
Brian.
Harp.
But you think about these people who, I've seen videos of people just walking down a sidewalk and all of a sudden the sidewalk collapses and they go through a sinkhole and they're like,
That's gotta be
they're like
shocking.
100 feet down. That's gotta be shocking, but it's just like, what can you do? A fucking sinkhole. It's not like, oh, they built that sidewalk. No, a sinkhole formed
and do you think
underneath
they
the
even realize what happened, or it's I'm walking?
I think some
falling,
people
I'm
die.
out. Like,
I think some people die. I don't know, Brian. I don't know. But it's like, hey, life happens. Life happens, and sometimes Mother Earth happens. Sometimes Mother Earth, I think, that's her shaking to get us the fuck off. Like, we're fucking fleas or scabs on her, and it's like, yo, get off of me.
What are you doing on me?
Yeah, you guys are like poisonous. Ugh. You guys are oozing out of me, you know?
What are y'all doing to me with this?
All right, so Brian had brought this to my attention prior to the show, a few days ago, I guess you could say. Evil twin found in student's brain. Wait, what?
Yeah, this came from the London Telegraph.
This is my kind of stuff right here. Using radical surgery, doctors find an embryonic twin in the brain of Yamini Karanam. What? Would you have this pulled up, Brian?
I do have it pulled up.
Hey, do you want to read me the first paragraph there?
Surgeons have found and removed an embryonic twin complete with hair bone and teeth from deep in the brain of a PhD computer science student.
Oh, you think she ever heard teeth grinding and was like, "What the fuck is that?" It's like most annoying thing in the world.
It says
and it's her little twin like, "Get me the fuck out of here."
She had been experiencing health problems for some time, including trouble with concentrating and reading, and then eventually walking.
Well, of course, I wouldn't be able to concentrate with another little person in there. Like, hey, what's going on? Nope, I can't see shit in here. It's dark. Turn on some lights.
After seeing a series of neurologists and neurosurgeons across the United States, she was diagnosed with a tumor on the pineal gland of her brain.
I'm a tumor.
She described problems with reading comprehension, listening comprehension, couldn't understand what was happening if multiple people were talking in a room. And then months and weeks slipped by.
Her fingers, yep.
Etc., etc. They raised
$32,000. Wow.
It's pretty impressive.
The Skull Base Institute. If there's any place to go, the Skull Base Institute is the place to go if you got something going on with your skull.
They used fiber optic technology that allowed them to discover she had a teratoma, a rare unborn twin, kind of attached to her brain.
Yeah.
And that... She believes
it was
her evil twin sister who's been torturing her for the past 20 years.
Where was I going with this beginning of this? How are you going to be able to concentrate? How can you read? It would honestly, it would drive you insane and literally start causing you health problems when you got this evil twin living inside of your brain. Yeah, okay, at the end it says it was a parasitic twin that had died in the womb early in their mother's pregnancy, so it really ain't been alive this whole time. But think about this. It died in the womb with her, and then the instead of being buried, or instead of being I don't want to say disposed of because that just sounds so wrong, but instead of being removed, the body stayed inside of her brain and inside of her head for this long. So it's almost like she was haunted, and it's like that's a whole nother kind of haunting when
could you imagine
twin is in
when
your brain
you think about your conscience and the voices in your head? Could you imagine the voices in that head like, go outside now, throw bricks through windows, burn police cars?
So Brian, obviously you've never looked into schizophrenia. Now,
I actually have, because I used to live with a schizophrenic landlord.
Oh, okay. Well, what you were just explaining there is textbook schizophrenia.
True. Yeah.
Well, and then maybe not. Some people say, no, that's not textbook because it wouldn't tell you to do all these messed up things. It would just tell you how much you suck.
It'd be more like they're listening to you. They're out to get you. They're all after you.
Well, it's kind of in the same vein. But also in the same vein, Brian, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Do cats control my mind?
I think Mimsy controls your mind.
No, but I am on a level with cats, or with my cat and other cats and animals and pets. I don't know why. But, right? Here's the thing. This is my belief, Brian. This is my belief. This, Nick's belief. Okay? This, I didn't know I was going to be pulling this up. I'm sorry. Like that I didn't give you a heads up on these two topics that I'm pulling up here. But I had come across them in the past couple of weeks and wanted to bring them up on the show. Or came across them, I guess you could say. Anyway, Brian, when I look into a cat's eyes, I think I've even said this on the show before, that when you look into a cat's eyes, there is a direct connection with God. And that
I've heard that in a lot of documentaries as well.
Cats have a direct connection with God, a much more fluid direct connection with God, whereas they understand that they are a part of the source and that they are a slice of God, whereas we don't understand that. It's hard for us to accept that. We don't innately believe that, and we fall into these religious structures and yada yada, you know what I'm saying? But a cat is connected with God closer than we are. I believe we're all God. I believe we're all part of the same energy and spirit. Cat does not have, a better way to say it is, a cat does not have the amnesia nearly as much as we experience. Whereas we can overcome that amnesia, but it's still like it's hard because the amnesia is so rock solid. You know what I'm saying? The amnesia, like we didn't come here to remember what we were. We came here to experience this life, and maybe we did come here to remember it, but we came here to remember it and have faith in that remembrance, not like actually remember. Which there are some people that do actually remember, right? But a cat does not have that kind of amnesia that we have, whereas we kind of forget that we are part of the source. A cat understands it's part of the source. When you look in a cat's eyes, it's almost like you're looking into the eyes of God, because that cat understands and knows that it is a slice of God. Okay? But here's something to think about. Clean your fucking litter box, people. Clean your fucking litter box, okay? If your cat pee, and a lot of cats do this. I have one cat, and his fucking cat pisses little baseball-sized fucking mounds of fucking piss. That when I fucking scoop them out, they're fucking the size of a baseball. So if you let that shit go for 2 days, 3 days, you got some nasty shit going on up in that litter box. It's going to smell, but if you just try and cover up that smell and let it get worse, one, your cat's going to poop and pee other places and fucking try and hide it from you, but he's still going to poop and pee on other shit. So you need to clean your fucking litter box, people. But here's a much more reasonable reason why you should be cleaning your litter box, other than the obvious reasons of it being disgusting when you don't and it's fucked up to do to your cat. Would you want to shit in a toilet where somebody hasn't flushed for 3 days?
Ew.
I'm just saying.
Hell no.
Exactly. Think about it that way, Brian.
It's disturbing.
All right, this is actually from December 5th of 2013, and it's not really new neuroscience, but it is recent. Within the past 10 to 15 years, it's come out as a much more accepted thing, and there's a lot more information about it. Studies have been done on it. This is the story on theatlantic.com. Is new neuroscience research says that toxo, the cysts in our brains from cats, can improve our self-control. For the 30% of people who have this infection, it's about more than promiscuity, schizophrenia, and car crashes. Like, wait, what? Now, everything I have heard about toxoplasmosis, I believe it's called. It might not be called whatever. Yes, toxoplasmosis. When you get toxoplasmosis, it can really, it can cause mental problems. It can literally make you feel like it can cause symptoms similar to schizophrenia and other things like that, right? Toxoplasmosis is crazy. It's a bug that comes from your cats. Hopefully they'll get into this. I was going to read at least the first little chunk of this story. Yeah, we'll stop at organisms do the simplest thing that gets them where they want to be. Who be calling my phone? Now, up. Oh, well, I guess they stopped. I was going to say, no, we can't take calls. I forgot to unplug it. Oh, well. Moving on. Toxoplasmosis, okay?
Toxo.
Blah, 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 blah. It is definitely not smart to intentionally infect yourself. I've already had people ask. And hold on. Is toxoplasmosis cheesing? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, toxoplasmosis is the parasite that you are ingesting when you cheese, and hence why you trip. And your body is able to expel a lot of it out of a lot of your systems, but as far as your brain and what gets into your brain, that lingers. As far as I know, this article could tell me something completely different. A third of the world has been infected, though. A third. Brian, you probably got it.
Third.
I don't have it. I know I don't. But tiny cysts nested in one's brain and muscles attest. The parasite Toxoplasmosis gondii comes into us by undercooked meat, well-intentioned placentas, gardening soil, or most infamously, cats. It is the reason that pregnant women are not supposed to empty litter boxes. Oh,
I never knew that.
I knew that, and I'm glad that I'm reminded of that. If you're young and healthy and have it already, it might provide some benefit, as we saw in our research. And Catherine Stock, a cognitive neurophysiology researcher at the University of Dresden in Germany, told me, but the adverse effects are potentially huge. If you ever really get sick, it might be what kills you. Many people have what feels like a cold after they get infected with toxo. The symptoms pass and the person feels fine, but the toxo lives on inside them, hidden dormant in little cysts, kept in check by constant pressure from the person's immune system. If our immune systems become weak because of a serious illness later in life, though, the toxo can break out and attack organs like the brain or retina. You might lose your ability to see or lose your cognitive faculties, Stock said. Neuroscientist Jaroslav Fleger, an eminent voice in toxo research, told The Atlantic last year that toxoplasma might even kill as many people as malaria, or at least 1 million people a year. What does it mean to learn that it can also have beneficial effects? Because obviously it kills a lot of people. It doesn't sound like it's good. So what do you mean? So are they basically saying that they're going to genetically take the good effects out of toxoplasmosis? Or is it going to become a thing like kind of how some drugs are bad for your body, but can give you certain effects, like cocaine, let's just say, bad for your body, but can give you like such an energy effect that it can be evened out for some people. It's like the amount of work they can get done and shit they can do while on cocaine might overshadow the health impacts of it. So you do, hey, why not cheese? Because you're getting a lot of benefits from it, even though it's damaging to your body. I don't know, Brian. Toxo has been all over the news in recent years, since it became known that the parasite manipulates people's behavior. Maybe most interestingly and notoriously, it seems to make men more introverted, suspicious, unattractive to women, and oblivious to the way others see them. I think I have it, Brian. Infected women, inversely, have been shown to be more outgoing, trusting, sexually adventurous, attractive to men, and image conscious. Infected men tend to break more rules than their uninfected peers, and infected women tend to pay them more heed. Infected men and women are 2.5 times more likely to have traffic accidents, more likely to develop schizophrenia, and more likely to engage in self-directed violence. See, now I don't think I'm more likely to have traffic accidents. I'm probably more likely to develop schizophrenia, and I'm not very likely to engage in self-directed violence, which I actually just thought about last night. Is I have contemplated suicide in the past, but the only thing that has ever stopped me from ever seriously contemplating it is I do not wish to harm myself. There's my innate whatever that part of your brain is that says you should not harm yourself is very strong, or is very there's nothing wrong with my brain when it comes to that. Like, I do not want to harm myself, you know?
Are you sure?
No, I'm 100% sure. I've learned that sometimes you need to accept that there's pain, and sometimes you need to accept the pain that comes along with something, but that does not mean... What was I saying? Brain fart. I don't even fucking know. Everybody gets what I was saying. I don't give a shit. All right, these stories made news, though, they lacked a logical explanation. At least 60 million Americans have it, if almost always unknown to them. So understanding this is beyond academic. Thinking about the potential scale of the parasite's effect on civilization and history can be overwhelming. Like imagining the twin brother you never had. If you do have a twin brother in real life, it's like imagining your triplet. Already have a triplet? You get the idea. Why, though? Why does toxo affect human behavior? In the New York Times last year, Choir Sicha channeled cats in a memo from the desk of cats that read, "We have trained, by means of this gentle biological warfare, your women to let us into your homes and your men to stay home and scratch us in our difficult places." Who are you going to believe? The cats? Toxo manipulates its host indiscriminately according to the most prevalent hypothesis. The parasite just wants to improve its odds of disseminating, living on. These fascinating human behavior changes are serendipitous, equal opportunity mind control. It interferes with brain chemistry, but the parasite itself doesn't intend to harm someone, Stock told me. It always acts by the same mechanism, whether it's in humans or rodents. It's just that humans are very rarely prey to cats. That doesn't help its goal. We're a dead-end host. So. If we're a virus or a parasite on this planet, all the damage we're doing on the planet, could somebody outside the box say, oh, they don't know what they're doing. You know, they don't have ill intent. You know, they're just trying to survive. They're just trying to build houses. That's why they're tearing down all the trees. They haven't figured out what to do with their trash yet. That's why they're poisoning our oceans with their trash and toxic waste and all this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, is there somebody outside the box, or maybe our as we like to touch on so often, our simulator? Literally, the person sitting at the simulator watching all of us.
Wow, these idiots are destroying that place.
Well, they're destroying it, but they're not. They don't have bad intentions.
I don't think they're trying to destroy it.
Yeah, I don't really think they're trying to destroy it. I just think it's kind of a consequence of what they're doing, you know? But they're just trying, you know, trying to live life. They're trying to do good, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Well, how did I get to that? I don't know. And then the story continues on. I'm not going to read the whole entire thing. I'll just read you the two highlights I see here. The study found an improvement in people's control of their actions. The first research to demonstrate this. That's crazy. If I have it, then that's not the truth, because I don't really have too much control over my actions. But maybe I do. Toxo spreads all over your brain, increasing dopamine in many pathways, changing your behavior. Maybe I do have it, because dopamine is definitely released in me more often than it probably should be. Does 50 years of brain cysts manifest differently than 5? I would assume so, yes. And on that note, nonviolence as compliance. See? Nonviolence is compliance.
Yeah.
So that's why they're being violent. All right, so anyway.
Violent.
I'll read that when we're done. All right. And we'll talk about jellyfish and all that, but there's a few other things that I wanted to touch on, Brian. All right? We're going to go into the U.S. federal debt. Okay? U.S. federal.
And I also at some point have something I'd like to say about gangs and gang violence.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Brian wanted to touch on gang rape, so go ahead. You can touch on gang rape now if you wanted to.
But there was something said to me by a source earlier.
Oh, well, hold on. You said a source, Brian. You name names or you name names? What's
I'm
your
not
source?
naming names.
Okay.
I'm not naming this one.
He won't name names, folks.
This one I cannot name at this point in time.
Okay.
But said something about what's going on in Baltimore could spread, you know. And I'm seeing right now the Washington Times just put out a report yesterday saying the exact same thing. Intel report warns gang attacks on white cops could spread nationally. And
that's honestly, I see that.
Yes,
all right,
and they put out a press release on Monday saying various gangs, including the Black Guerrilla family, the Bloods, and the Crips, have entered into a partnership to take out law enforcement.
We've all heard that.
They're saying
scary.
that could spread nationally across the country.
Yeah, you know how many gangs are across the country? How many organized gangs are across the country?
Yes, you know how many cities the Crips and the Bloods are in?
Yeah, the Crips and the Bloods are everywhere. They're in this city. You know, they're not in this city like with a heavy presence and this and that, but I can guarantee you, like, there's at least one or two people in this city who either calls himself a Crip or a Blood. You know, in the town we live in everybody's town, you know, other than towns that only have 200 people.
The Eastern Shore Center Officer Safety Bulletin states the Caroline County Sheriff's Office received information from a citizen who received a text with a Chicago area code. The text said, "Kill all white police officers, as many as you can, bunch of thugs with badges," end quote. The Eastern Shore Center took the text seriously enough to send out a warning to all the officers. The guidance states law enforcement officers are encouraged to remain vigilant when conducting traffic stops or other routine contacts with citizens. Officers should be mindful of suspicious calls for service that may be conducive of an ambush. So they're taking it pretty seriously, the possibility that this could happen.
Yeah, and things will get real serious and real, I don't want to say scary, but things will get a lot different when officers start getting murdered. I don't want to say en masse, but when more than 3 or 4 officers has been murdered, and it's apparent that it's not a It's not just a thing where a couple of officers will get murdered and then it's like everybody calms down because they realize that's too much or that's going too far.
When it becomes rampant. And
yeah, when it becomes rampant, we got a lot of shit to go through. We got a lot of shit about to fucking befall the country, not just any in particular.
Oh, thank God our National Guard and our Army are doing all those martial law drills. They'll be able to protect us and when all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, I don't know, Brian. I don't know. That's just too scary. Let's talk about the debt. The debt's not as scary.
The debt is scary. The debt's very scary.
What's our debt? Take a guess at what our debt is. I'm not going to let you say it, Brian.
I think it's somewhere around $800 trillion.
I'll only give you three guesses. Now, without derivatives. What the national debt is on the debt. What the debt clock says. Come on, buddy.
Oh, fuck.
Last time I checked, it was at 17 trillion, but it's...
I'll say like 60 trillion.
Last time I checked, it was 17 trillion.
Yeah.
Now, last time I checked was like a year ago. Well, maybe not even.
Okay, maybe 23 trillion.
Lower.
20 trillion.
Lower.
15 trillion.
15? How the hell did our debt go down? We ain't paying off our debt.
I don't know where the hell you keep saying lower.
All right, 18 trillion, 157 billion, 237 million. Oh, sorry, 238 million. 200. It just keeps going. It's
yeah.
We're
big
at
number.
18 trillion, 157 billion.
Key being 18 trillion.
And 39 million. I could watch this and just keep updating everybody at all times throughout the day. That would be a fun job. So let's just put that into perspective a little bit, okay?
You can move your hand and stop trying to hide it.
Yeah, I'm hiding it from Brian still. All right, the debt to the average taxpayer, okay, or the average debt per taxpayer. Listen to this, and this is, I believe a taxpayer is also like a child can be considered a taxpayer. I don't know. I've heard even children owe this shit. Okay. No, this is per taxpayer. Okay, the next one is even children are part of. Per taxpayer, each taxpayer owes $126,000. Hey, that's a fucking mortgage. That's a house. What? All right. And we'll never be asked to pay that, by the way. And the average debt per citizen, even your children, even your newborn baby, owes $57,878.15 towards the national debt. Okay?
Get to work, kid.
Get to work. That is approximately, no frickin' way, hundreds and millions and billions. 4,539,311,000,000 gallons of milk. Okay. 9,078,622,420 flat screen TVs.
Jeez.
605,241,520 new BMW coupes. And last but not least, 18,157,246 condos in Manhattan, which I don't even think there are that many in Manhattan. Oh. So with that national debt, you could rent every freaking condo or buy every condo in Manhattan.
How many velociraptors could I breed?
I don't know. That wasn't a part of my thing, Brian.
Oh.
So I'm just gonna we're gonna go hard. We're gonna go hard on people. Okay. I don't know if you ever heard about this guy. I want other people to go ahead and check him out. This is like, Brian's going to be like, what the fuck is this? Keep in mind, this is our ketchup and mustard episode, so it's a little bit messy and a little bit not what you're used to. But, hey, we're getting back to, we got our Technogenesis episode next week. We're going to talk about the technological revolution, Moore's Law, and how technology is accelerating so fast, but some of the fucking awesome technologies that are out there. There's a lot of scary technologies, but there's some fucking awesome new technologies that are fucking coming out there. And some awesome technologies that were awesome technologies when they came out 5 years ago, and now they're being manipulated or hacked, and that could be fucking bad. That could be really bad for a lot of people. All right, I just want to tell people about Larry Walters. If anybody ever gets a chance, I saw this thing. It wasn't on Unsolved Mysteries. It was caught on camera. Fucking, I hate watching regular TV. It's so stupid. But I did see Larry Walters, this guy who tied 45 balloons to his lawn chair, and he rose to 15,000 feet. And I believe he traveled, I think it was 300 miles, I believe he went.
And how did he land?
Popping balloons, man. See, that's one thing it doesn't tell me here, but I already saw a thing on this.
Did he land safely, or?
Yeah, man, he landed safely. Pop a balloon. All right. Once you're at the level you want to be at, you pop a balloon. All right. If you keep on rising, you pop another balloon. You got to wait 30 seconds to kind of see where you're leveling out at. But once you level out, you're good. Once you're ready to start coming down, pop a balloon. If you start lowering down, if you're going too slow, pop another balloon. You might lower down a little bit faster. You want to go a little bit faster, pop another balloon. But as long as you don't pop too many balloons, you can lower down. Your weight will be too much for the balloons to hold, so it'll slowly lower you down to the ground.
I like it.
And he did it on a lawn chair. Dude, that's insane. I don't think I would ever trust my body sitting on a lawn chair 15,000 feet in the sky.
Hell no.
I don't know if I could ever trust a man-made device, especially as flimsy as a frickin' $5 lawn chair,
and a couple balloons.
I would have to reinforce it with duct tape or something. But then again, I'd be worried about the whole fucking thing crumbling, or the whole chair crumbling, and me hanging onto a crumbled chair 15,000 feet in the air, trying to shoot my balloons to get me down safely. So I can't fucking really shoot them and come down too fast because I might break my legs and break my spine or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
And that would really not be fun from 15,000 feet.
While this thing slowly lowers me down. So I don't know if I could do it. But you know what? Larry Walters, he's got some balls. I'm going to start calling him Larry Balters because he's got some balls to be taking a lawn chair up to 15,000 feet. All right. So that was the first of our odd facts of the day, Brian.
That is interesting.
Yes. There's I got an odd law for us here. Okay. One may not, and I'm thinking about moving to Colorado, and this is good to know. This is very good to know, Brian. One may not mutilate a rock in a state park in Colorado.
That is a very good law. I'm glad that's on the books. By the way, 1 hour ago, Bernie Sanders declared his candidacy for president in 2016.
Bernie Sanders declared his presidency for president. Declared his, what do you call it for presidency? His intention, whatever the fuck. He's running.
He's running as a Democrat.
He declared it at what do you call it? He declared it on Larry Wilmore's show a week ago. And Larry Wilmore tried to get him to fully admit it. He said, well, I'm thinking about it. And Larry Wilmore's like, yeah, you're doing it. And he's like, oh, that's
Sanders identifies himself as a socialist Democrat.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's,
oh, great, another one.
Pot-smoking socialist Democrat. You go, Obama. You're just too cool, Obama. All right. Moving on.
Moving right along.
I've got a couple more.
Nick's got more, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Cracking your head open.
Oh, that one will fuck you up, Brian.
All right, Nick, fuck me up.
Nah, I won't give you that one because everybody will be like, what? Wait, what? All right. Think about this, Brian. This is a very quirky fact, okay? You're like, what the fuck? Typewriter is the longest word that can be made using the letters only on one row of the keyboard.
Oh.
Wow.
That's actually pretty cool.
That's interesting. I don't know if that's a wow, because I did say wow, and I retract my wow. That's not a wow.
No, because
I say
4 of the 5 vowels are on that same line.
Well, I'll replace my wow with a interesting. Yeah, like you said. Like he said. All right. Can you name for me, Brian, the longest one-syllable word in the English language?
Negative.
That's 3 syllables, Brian. That's not even that long of a word. No, well, hey, that's 1 syllable, but that's a little short, Brian. How about we go with screeched? Screeched.
Oh.
Because somebody could try and say, no, that's 2 syllables, screeched. But no, d is never a syllable. Ed is never a syllable. You'll never see anything with ED
is a bad disorder to have, and we feel sorry for those affected with it. We're not, thankfully, but
yeah, so ED is not a syllable. It is never a syllable, but it can be a very sad problem to have at any point in your life
if your wife doesn't
man.
want you to have it.
I guess it's the only person it's not sad to have ED. The only person I can think at the moment who it's not sad to have ED or wouldn't be sad. Bruce Jenner. I don't think it really matters to him or her right now. And that's where, honestly, I give a lot of respect, and I have respect for Bradley Manning and Chelsea Manning. I have respect and call her Chelsea Manning because I respect her choice to become Chelsea Manning and fully and respect her decisions and everything that she's done, to respect what she's done for us and what she's given us, right? But when it comes to Bruce Jenner, I don't even know what he's going to call himself. I'm figuring Brenda. But when it comes to Bruce Jenner, I don't have any respect for him. When it comes down to it sounds like there's a fist fight in my
There is a fight in the hallway, ladies and gentlemen.
About to be
Breaking news.
Girl fight.
Jade Helm has come to Riverside. There's a fight in the hallway.
All right, Brian. This is Urban Dictionary. I don't know if you ever checked out Urban Dictionary.
Yes,
Do you like Urban
yes,
Dictionary?
Yeah.
This is pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but I sometimes look at Urban Dictionary and I really wish that I could. You know how in the Matrix you can download things into your brain or download things into your program or whatever? No, yeah. You remember how he learned karate? They downloaded karate into his brain?
Yes.
Okay. I really wish I could download all of Urban Dictionary into my brain sometimes because these are amazing. I'm going to read 3 of them, okay? First one is going to be called, or is, postfartum. Used in a sentence.
I'm familiar with this one already, but go ahead.
I'll try and use it in a sentence after I read it because I don't know what the definition is, so it's hard to use it in a sentence if I don't know
It's very
exactly what the
interesting.
definition is.
Go ahead.
Right.
Enlighten the
Postpartum,
audience.
the sense of letdown after your cat, dog, or spouse does not recognize your fart with as much enthusiasm as you were feeling it deserved. Yes, postpartum, like postpartum depression. I'm a little bit sad. I'm a little bit down because this was supposed to be such an eventful, amazing thing, you know? So I was going through postpartum after I let one loose walking past my mother. And she said nothing. Not even a scowl. I was in postpartum.
Yes, I learned this one actually yesterday through a
You learned
friend's Facebook
postpartum?
page.
You learned postpartum
Off of Facebook yesterday.
off of Facebook yesterday. Wow. Oh, well, these are new words. Okay. Oh, okay. So we can give everybody the new
My buddy
words.
Steve posted that one.
All right. Here's another one. Okay? This is kind of funny. I'm not religious, so it's funny. You might take this a little bit differently here, Brian, and I apologize if it offends you, but it is a little
Don't
bit
worry.
funny. It looks a little funny.
If it does, I'll only break half of your bones.
The prey punt. The prey punt. This sounds good.
Let's hear
Brian.
this.
All right. To offer prayer as a concrete solution to a problem. To literally run the issue up the ladder and wait for God to figure it out, thereby relieving you of taking any real action. Let's just have a prey punt. God will take care of it. And you know who? Do you want to know who one of the most famous prey punts that I can think of? One of the most well-known prey punts? Maybe not well-known, but one of the most prolific prey punts in history, and that turned out to be a prey punt fail, or I guess a prey punt squib,
Who's this?
right? A punt squib kick, right?
Yes. Correct.
Or shank. You shank the punt. A shank.
No, yeah, you shank the punt. The
Okay.
squib kick is when you kick off really short and
Okay.
let it bounce.
Well, basically the most prolific shank prey punt, Bob Marley. Bob Marley got cancer in his toe, and instead of actually having it treated, which at the time I can understand, like it's cancer treatment, like their cancer treatment sucks right now. Like I'd rather pray to God, but he said, "I'll pray to my God, and my God will heal it." And he died. That cancer spread, and he died from cancer. So that was a prey punt, and you kind of shanked that one. You know what I'm saying?
I could give you that one.
All right. And last but not least, sans plants.
What?
Sans plants. Oh, this is good, Brian. This is good. All right.
I don't know this.
A lack of breast implants, real boobs, titties with no silicone or saline. I don't mind me some sans plants.
Oh.
Sans without.
Ah.
I like it. I like it, Brian. I like it. So that was our new words of the week. Didn't you have something else, Brian? No? Oh.
Negative. Not at this exact moment or juncture. Although.
What did you have to say, Brian?
I think,
Speak it, brother.
personally,
Oh no, he's getting personal on shit.
I think if people want to see something very interesting, they should just go look up the Transatlantic Partnership and then...
Hey, yeah. Hey, you know what, Brian? I like your style. Tell you what. That's weird. That's weird. Oh, man, this is my kind of shit.
What's his shit?
No, I can't tell you. Burnt macaroni and cheese forces evacuation at the Iowa Capitol.
What?
Burnt macaroni and cheese forces evacuation at the Iowa Capitol. Breaking news. Dum, 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 dum. The microwave probably caught on fire. You left it in there too long. All right. So, let's just go. Do you know who Richard Harris is?
Richard Harris. Off the top of my head, it sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
I hate the movies. Myself, I hate the movies. But apparently, Richard Harris only played Dumbledore in the Harry Potter movies.
I would not know that.
Because his granddaughter threatened never to speak to him again. Harris had stated that he did not intend to take the part at first because of his declining health. However, his 11-year-old granddaughter threatened to never speak to him again if he didn't take it, and so he finally caved. In an interview with the Toronto Star, Harris expressed concern that his association with the Harry Potter movies would outshine the rest of his career. And you know what? It did. Sucks to be you. Maybe you shouldn't listen to an 11-year-old for making life decisions. I'm just saying. Just saying.
I'm just going to throw this out there since this is a random episode.
What?
Well, earlier today, since our...
Catch up, Brian. Catch up.
Most of our viewers don't know this.
You got a mustard-colored shirt on.
I do, don't I? I'm wearing Don't Tread on Me, that evil terrorist shirt.
I don't know.
Of the Founding Fathers.
I can make myself bleed, but I'm not a...
But, earlier, a friend of ours mentioned that it would be a good idea to subject the citizens of Baltimore to the Hunger Games for their actions over the past few days. And our good friend Mr. Tesla here pointed out that the Hunger Games is a movie of fiction.
Yes, it's
fictional. This person replied
I
to
saw.
your
It
post.
just popped up on my thing here and said that person had replied.
Fictional until now, I think it's a great solution. So let's think about this. What would people think to punishing the entire city of Baltimore by claiming some of their children and making them fight to the death with one survivor being declared the victor?
Let's flood the streets with chocolate and fucking and drop marshmallow bombs on the town. Like, come on, dude. Like, are you living in fantasy land or are you living in the real world? Come on, I thought this dude was a smart dude. Oh,
He's supposed to be.
Zing!
Look where he works.
Nah, I'm just playing.
I'm not putting that out there, but he works somewhere that only smart people should be ever even considered being hired at.
You'd be surprised how many dumb people work at his job, but hey.
He complains about them constantly.
Experience. Hey, I don't know from experience, so I really can't speak on it. You know, and there's a lot of things.
Maybe they're not dumb.
It's hard because a lot of things you can't experience in life, and if you're not allowed to speak on something unless you've experienced it, then it's like, well, what about the shit you're not allowed to experience or you can't experience, but somebody else who has experienced has explained it in pretty good detail, and you now know about it. Oh, because you didn't experience it, you're not allowed to say shit about it? Fuck that. I don't know where I'm going, Brian. I got a cheat for us. This is called a life cheat.
A life cheat, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a Nikola Tesla life cheat, all right? This is an elevator cheat. For all of us that jump in elevators on a regular basis, say you go to work every day and let's just say you're running late. You're running late and you get into the elevator and there's nobody else in it. And you hit the door close button, you're like, oh, these motherfuckers, good shit. Right? Nobody else is in the elevator with you. But you know, as you're going up, the elevator's going to stop because there's other people going up. You know? There's other people on other floors going up. Right?
Makes sense.
So if you're ever in an elevator, hold the door close button till the door closes. Keep holding it and press and hold the floor number you want to go to till the elevator moves. This will take you to your floor without stopping. It's the policeman's hack, the policeman and fireman's hack to take over an elevator and make it go directly to where you want it to go.
Oh.
Without stopping for anybody else. Pretty fucking sweet hack. I actually knew that at one time. There's some fake hacks out there. If anybody finds the soda machine hacks, they're not real. They're not legit. You know, there are actual some soda machines that those hacks work on, but they make it seem like it works on almost all soda machines. And that does not work on but maybe 1% of soda machines out there, and they're the real, like, early 90s style soda machines. You know? So anyway, Brian.
I am going to throw out there...
No, don't throw it out there, Brian.
We like
You're going to
something.
hurt somebody.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are. You're going to hit a police officer, and he's going to be taken to fucking jail or something. Not jail, to the hospital.
Oh, no,
Brian.
not that kind of throw out there. This is... I'm just going to... figuratively throw out there.
Okay, and?
A random Jesse Ventura quote.
Oh, you fucking... Okay, go ahead. I love Jesse Ventura. Who am I kidding? Sorry, go ahead.
I follow the teachings of Major General Smedley Darlington Butler, the United States Marine Corps. He won 2 Congressional Medals of Honor, and he wrote the highly controversial anti-war book, War is a Racket.
Yeah.
There's a random Jesse Ventura quote.
Yeah, Smedley Butler. I think we've mentioned that a few times on the show, and we'll continue to mention it.
Here you go. This is what I should have went with. This would have been more 3NN-ish.
Oh, Brian.
Here you go. Ready? Random Jesse Ventura quote. In wrestling, my mustache made me look more like a villain. A good mustache can give you the look of the devil.
Yeah. Think about Hitler.
That Hitler stash.
Hitler without his mustache, he's just like, I could take you. I'll give you
Charlie Chaplin and his
hook.
Evil Nazi regime tried to enslave the world.
Trouble. Toxoplasmosis has reared its ugly head again. All right, Ryan, in the light of what's going on in Baltimore today,
yes,
and if there's anybody in Baltimore that is actually watching this and has experienced and gone through the rioting, and if it's still going on, I want you to go out if you can, if you have the balls, the cojones to do it, or if you have the spirit to do it, I guess you could say. I want you to go out and I want you to remind the people that are rioting and at least try and get the word out across and this message across to them. Okay, this is an old Native American quote, okay, or an old Native American saying.
Okay. Old Native American saying.
And think about Baltimore and the riots when you think about this, okay? Do not wrong or hate your neighbor, for it is not he that you wrong, but yourself. Okay? Now, there's a lot of damage being done to places that have nothing to do with police. Now, if the police station was being burned down or every police car in the city was being flipped over or something, like, yeah, fuck, you guys kind of did it to yourself. But when they're burning down CVS and ransacking a corner drugstore or a corner store, it's like, really? Come on, you're only hurting yourself. You're only literally fucking up your own karma by doing that, because those people did nothing to you. Those people are not police supporters, you know what I'm saying? Those people are just everyday regular people like you that could have been rioting right along with you. And you're bashing in their store because you're angry. You're like,
what about the reporters who got their bones broken and their cameras stolen?
Yeah, man, that is some pretty funny videos, because it reminds you of the LA riots, and it's like the same thing that happened at the LA riots. They didn't want reporters down there too much. Like when they first had reporters down there, the reporters were in danger. So they're like, you know what? We are not going to have ground reports anymore. If we do, it's going to be from extremely safe areas or behind police barricades, or we're just going to do helicopter reports. Because that's the easiest, all you got to do is zoom out from one zone or zoom out from one area of shit going down to spin the camera around and zoom into another. You just look for the cloud of smoke from something burning, you know? All right, I got another life hack here. Another Tesla cheat.
Life hack from Nick Tesla.
I hope. I really...
In a nice, sweet, quiet...
I really do.
Voice,
I really do, okay? This is a really corny hack, but it's a hack. I'm not going to read that one because it was that corny. All right. This is actually a really good one. And for anybody out there, you know what I'm saying? You end up filling up your trash can way more than it needs to be. Okay? Yeah, I'm looking at Brian, and I think he's that guy, too. I'm that guy. My trash can's over there overflowing. I got to empty that shit. Put old newspaper at the bottom of your bin to absorb food juices.
Ooh.
Hi-oh! Because it will absorb the food juices, and then that newspaper will literally start to dry out itself. It might stay a little soggy, but it's not going to, unless you cut the bottom of your bag open or pull that newspaper out or something, it's not going to drip out of the bag. Whereas if you don't have that down there, you can literally get a pool of shit in one little poke, and that shit's going all over the place. You've ever seen Dude, Where's My Car? That stupid-ass scene. where they got the trash, they're both holding the trash bag and it's squirting shit all over the place. That can happen, and it really sucks because that's like the most disgusting.
Yeah,
shit.
that shit stinks.
Not the moisture, the liquid that accumulates at the bottom of a trash bag,
and that could cause illness and spawn disease.
More than illness.
Speaking of illness and disease, here's a random quote from our President Barack Obama. Quote, "I have not seen the Hunger Games. Not enough class warfare for me." End quote.
Oh, Brian. I don't think that was a real quote. But maybe it was.
Actually, it is.
Yeah, it
It's
must be.
from Politico. Funniest jokes by Barack Obama at the White House.
That just
Correspondence
seems
dinner.
silly. All right. This is a poem I want to read that I just stumbled across.
Here's a poem from Nick Tesla, ladies and gentlemen.
Is today's
Poem.
3NN poem. 3NN poem. 3NN poem. 3NN poem. You are a winner in every way. You are as unique as a new fallen snowflake. At home with the nice warm feelings of hugging and embracing, you're cuddly and cozy and want to be held, curled up comfortably in loving arms. You find in each of life's moments abundant pleasure. That was a horrible fucking poem. I'll tell you what, I could do better than that, and I apologize for wasting people's ear space with that, or ear time
down,
with
cat.
that. Because ear time
We're
is
doing
ear
a
money.
show.
You know what I'm saying?
What you doing, kitty?
I got some other...
I'm
what do you call
looking
it?
for a poem right now so I can give my poem of the day.
What? Oh, he's got a poem. Oh, no, I don't know if I want to hear this. This is insane. Americans eat nearly 100 acres of pizza every day. That's approximately 350 slices per second. I haven't had pizza in a while, and you know what, Brian? I wouldn't mind some fucking pizza.
Maybe you should have pizza once in a while.
Maybe I should, but pizza's like, when you look at the grease sitting on top of pizza, Brian, it's like, oh man, it makes me want to like gag. But then again, it's so good. It's so good. You get a good slice of pizza, put a little like a light salt on there. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, Brian.
All right, we're gonna go with a poem. Let's see.
Well, hold on. I got something to tell you real quick before your poem.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is take 2 seconds.
Let me choose
Brian.
the right poem.
All right.
While you do that.
If you're ever, do you ever, when you're nailing a nail into the wall and you got to hold it with your thumb and your forefinger, and you're worried about hitting your thumb with the hammer?
All the time.
All the time. I know Brian's always hammering, nailing shit in. He's been working on the railroad all the live long day. Use a clothing pin to keep the nail in place instead of your frickin' thumb and what do you call it?
I like that idea. Shit.
Yeah. I got a crazy law for us here, Brian. You want to hear a crazy law? Choose a state. Give me a state, Brian. Any state. Choose a state. Any state.
Let's go with
How about Maryland?
Maryland's a good one. Let's go with Maryland.
Be more. In Baltimore, it's illegal to scrub or wash sinks, no matter how dirty they get. I want to go to Baltimore tomorrow with the kitchen sink, somebody's kitchen sink that I found in the trash, and just scrub that motherfucker in the middle of the road. I'll tell you what. Another one, right? It's illegal to mistreat oysters in Maryland, and in Halthorpe, it's illegal to kiss another person for more than 1 second.
Ew.
It's like I'd love to just go to each one of these like towns and places that got crazy laws and break each and every one of the laws and catch it on camera and show how you don't get arrested.
We're in a little crappy state called New Jersey where, let's see, dumb laws. I don't know if I call this a dumb law. Drivers must warn those who they pass on highways before they do so.
What? Drivers must warn those
who they pass on highways before they do so.
What? That doesn't sound like a dumb law. It just sounds like people are just grabbing
it just sounds
random
like
laws.
It was worded wrong. But I get what they're trying to say.
All right. I'm becoming an entrepreneur in a...
here you go. New Jersey. Man. Just, for future reference, anyone in New Jersey who's listening. It is illegal to wear a bulletproof vest while committing a murder.
What?
It is illegal
in New Jersey to wear a bulletproof vest. Yeah.
While committing a murder.
Yeah, that turns you... That almost guarantees you a life sentence when you're wearing a bulletproof vest while committing a murder. It's kind of funny, though, because it's like, wait, You shouldn't be committing a murder in the first place.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
You don't need to be adding shit onto there, right? This is my entrepreneurial side. Finance, the art of passing currency from hand to hand until it finally disappears.
It is illegal to slurp your soup.
That's my capitalist quote for the day. What?
In New Jersey, it is illegal to
No,
slurp
it is
your
not.
soup.
I've heard that, and it's illegal to slurp your soup.
Anyway,
I think,
here's
in
my
certain
poem.
places. I don't want to know. All
Yes,
right,
you
tell me
do.
your
It's
poem.
written by Gary Gibbons. You love
Oh,
Gary
Gibbons,
Gibbons.
that's my boy.
Gary Gibbons says, AR-15, 100-shot drum magazine, 40 cal Glock semi-auto, full body armor, Riot helmet, yes, I'm ready for the show. Yes, after all those years being the good smart boy, getting good marks, always being polite, Pablo has finally invited me to the Magic Theater. Now all the stepping wolves of my mind begin to run, teeth dripping with blood, laughing and howling as they begin the hunt.
That was pretty good. That was actually a pretty good poem, Brian. I'll give the author credit. You gotta learn how to say the poem without laughing and enjoying it too much while you're reading it.
Little part, it was kind of funny, but then after that, it got serious. It's actually a really long poem. That's just the beginning of it.
Hey, Brian, do you know what a scatologist is?
Is that someone who studies scat?
Hey, Brian, do you know what scat is?
Booby dooby shoo bop bop ba doo bop boo.
What was that?
A form of singing.
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm thinking folks, I'm thinking he's saying boopity boop boop boopity boop boop poop. That's what I'm thinking he's getting ready to say, but he's like, no, boopity boop 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 boopity boop boop boop, that form of singing. No. Scat is feces, my friend.
Ew.
Scat is feces.
Ew.
So, a
Never heard that before.
scatologists are experts who study feces, aka crap, dung, dookie, dumps, feces, and excrements. Okay?
Yeah.
And
Would you do that job?
Would I do that job? What do you mean, would I do that job?
Would you do that job?
No, I can't stand feces whatsoever, especially feces when it's not in the toilet. Like, have you ever taken a shit out in the woods and then turned around and looked at that shit, especially if it's a big, nasty shit? Brian? Shit is disgusting. You've ever seen a dirty diaper? Shit is disgusting, Brian.
I'm just going to throw this out there because you knew it was only a matter of time before it happened. They're already posting videos online, Nick. And I know this is going to shock you. This is going to blow your mind.
What?
Baltimore is a staged government event to bring in martial law.
Yeah, but the Baltimore... Now, here's the thing.
I really don't think that was a staged event.
No. The whole... It's funny how things can be manipulated, right? For all we know, Freddie Gray in the local Baltimore news was... The whole story of Freddie Gray was put out there in the local Baltimore news for a reason. And whereas things like that can happen and can kind of just slide under the radar, even if there are people who are upset about it, it can still just kind of slide under the radar. But if the local news airs it, and it's a big story to the local news that happened, they're kind of instigating something, aren't they? And maybe there's a reason why they're instigating. Those local news stations are run by bigger news stations, the 6 major companies that control our media
True
and
that.
our news, so...
Part of a bigger agenda.
Yeah, it could be part of a bigger agenda. But honestly, I don't know. I think it's too early to tell. And when will it be? I think it's too early to tell. But by the time we can tell, it might just be too late.
I think we need to make T-shirts since
Keep your ears fucking perked up like fucking Mr. Spock. That's
Well,
all
we
I
need
can
to
say.
we need to start selling T-shirts. That
Brian, T-shirts, really? There's so
Yes.
many things going on in the world. And you want to
This-
sell T-shirts?
Yes,
Okay.
because everybody wore the hands up, don't shoot T-shirts after Ferguson, and I'm sure a lot of money was made off of those T-shirts. So we could actually donate to rebuild Baltimore by selling pants down, don't loot T-shirts.
I actually like the idea of pants down, don't loot. That's a pretty ingenious idea there, Brian. And unfortunately, nobody's going to buy our T-shirts. We'll probably get mugged and all our T-shirts taken. So I would suggest that maybe we don't do that. That's one thing I'm not seeing
How about
too much
street
of.
interviews in downtown Baltimore?
Honestly, street interviews in downtown Baltimore. If you'd like to make the trip with me and we do a 3NN special,
I would consider it
special.
if it weren't for the press people getting
No.
beaten
I'm
down
not
in
talking.
the
Brian,
camera
you didn't let me finish what I was saying. I'm not going now. You want to go now? Good luck. Good luck, buddy. You know, that's all I can tell you is good luck.
Let's go get on the train right now. I'll pay for our tickets.
I'm talking about in the next few days until shit calms down. I ain't going the fuck down there. I ain't got no business down there. I ain't got nothing to do with me. I think there's much better ways to address
I
the
heard
police
there's a really
brutality.
good Chicago White Sox Baltimore Orioles game tomorrow. I might go check out.
You know, it's weird though. It's almost like this is what Alex Jones has been fucking not calling for, but almost begging for. This is what Alex Jones has been pushing for.
See, I told you I'm right.
Instigated.
1776.
But the problem is, Alex Jones hasn't instigated any of these people. You know what's instigated these people? Everything else. All the other media and culture around them. And also racial profiling. It's like, that's part of the drug war, you know? It's just, so the drug war is, it's really not Alex Jones. But it's almost like I step back and I look at it and I'm like, I could see Alex Jones working up, not a group of people, but working people up. Like, I don't...
Like when
I don't know, like
how when he shows up at protests and just kind of takes over with his bullhorn, and all of a sudden he becomes the center of the focus.
Yeah, but I don't think we'd see him like his boots on the ground. I think he would somehow find a way to gather all his supporters and get 90% of them or 75% of them worked up and
yesterday,
willing to go out and do.
I did not get to catch his show yesterday. I usually watch every day, as you know. I did not catch it yesterday.
The fuck out of me, Brian. Holy fuck. Too. Hold on, my heart is fucking like just dropped for a second.
Well, while you're dropping,
I don't know what
I did not catch his show yesterday. I did catch the nightly news. I did not catch any of his show today. But so far this week, he's all about Jade Helm, nothing about Baltimore.
Oh, he'll be talking about Baltimore.
Or a little bit about Baltimore, but not. Most of his show is Jade Helm, Jade Helm, Jade Helm.
I think it would be smart, and it's not easy. Trust me, it's a very easy. I don't want to say it's not a good thing, because it is a good thing most of the time, and sometimes, I guess, not most of the time, but sometimes it is a good thing. But I think right now, I'm saying it to you, and I'm saying it to everybody and anybody out there that is a avid Alex Jones follower or listener or viewer, is step back from Alex Jones and treat Alex Jones how you treat all other news stations, and observe them all and try and piece together the puzzle pieces. Treat Alex Jones
that actually is what I do.
Puzzle piece right now, instead of as the main picture and the puzzle itself, and all the other pieces are filling in around it with all the other little news stories, how they're lying to you, but there's a little bit of truth here, or why are they distracting you with this or that. Well, think of Alex Jones in the same exact light, as he's just not like openly, hey, I'm CBS, I'm Fox, I'm CNN. No, but he could be almost the exact same thing, just a different form of it. So even if that's not the truth, at this time, I think it's best to step back and evaluate all angles of things. It's always best. I think it's always best to evaluate all perspectives, but I think at this time more than ever, it's best to step back away from Alex Jones, step back away from RT, step back away from even if you're a mainstream person. If you're a mainstream person, I'm not saying, like, trust me, I'm sure there's people out there who listen to this show who might watch ABC or Fox News or MSNBC or anything like that, and you want to watch them because right now with what's going on in Baltimore, that's where you're watching the coverage. But there might be other people watching RT wanting to see the Rupley coverage. You know, Rupley is RT's raw video company or raw video feed or whatever. But step back from all of them and don't let any one of them pull you in right now, as far as that's letting them tell you what the story or what the agenda is right now. Because I really have a very strong feeling the only people that are right about what the story and the agenda are right now are people like you and me, and people with very small voices who aren't really being heard and aren't really going to be heard by the masses. You know, I'm not saying sitting here saying we have it figured out, But there may be people like you and me who actually do have it figured out, and they're putting that information out there, but they're not Alex Jones. They're not mainstream media. They're not RT.
They don't have the viewership.
And exactly. They're kind of a nobody, but they figured it out, and they're trying to put it out there for everybody.
So they're slowly letting it trickle out, but it's not like if you go on Fox News and millions of people see it.
I don't think it's slowly trickling out at all. I think there's people who are...
Compared to seeing it on Fox
I think
News,
there's people who are
viewers,
looking...
is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you're right. But I think there's people who are looking at exactly how I'm just saying it, looking at every single news outlet as a puzzle piece instead of any one news outlet being a bigger puzzle piece or giving you more truth than the other. They're giving you different angles on things, but they're all also distracting you at the same time. You know, RT is distracting you. InfoWars is distracting you. Obviously, fucking Fox News is fucking distracting you. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know.
Faux news? Faux news, anybody? Faux news?
Did you know this? The U.S. motto, "In God We Trust," was not adopted as the national slogan until 1956. So when you hear people say that, oh, well, how come then in God we trust? Like when you hear, well, there's a separation between church and state, right?
Yeah.
When there's supposed to be that, and then you hear, well, okay, then where did "In God We Trust" come from? Well, if there's supposed to be a separation between church and state, then how come we say "In God We Trust"? Well, that was all added on after the fact. I'm pretty sure I've done a lot of early American history.
One nation under God.
I think that might have even been added. The original Pledge of Allegiance, the Pledge of Allegiance wasn't the original. The original Pledge of Allegiance, we hailed to the fucking flag like Hitler had his fucking people hail to him.
True.
It was the, and it wasn't the Pledge of Allegiance. It was the, what was it? Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Ready? The original Pledge of Allegiance.
Nick is asking his phone.
Pledge of Allegiance was not the first. Oh, come on. The original Pledge of Allegiance? Flag of the United States, I think it might have been called.
Oh.
Yeah, like, here they are, these little fucking bastards. Pledge of Allegiance didn't always include God. Maybe that's what we were looking for. Maybe God's leading us to that God wasn't always in his fucking bullshit ass political system.
You want the proof? Here it is. They never believed in me.
All right, the Pledge of Allegiance is only 31 words long, and it might lose 2 of them in public schools in the state of Massachusetts. A case appeared before the state Supreme Court last week whether to strike the words "under God" from the pledge. Lawsuit brought by an atheist family. Blah blah blah. So some critics. The original Bellamy was a Baptist minister based out of Boston who was a figurehead in the Christian movement, as explained by Fox News. I don't know what that has to do with anything, sorry. The original words of the Pledge of Allegiance read, "I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all."
So they added a lot to it over the years.
Yes. The pledge was
here's
first
something
published
interesting.
in a children's magazine in conjunction with the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival to America, to the Americas, which was also all bullshit. So you know where our fucking Pledge of Allegiance came from?
Bullshit.
Rockefeller.
Oh! I pledge allegiance to the Rockefeller Foundation of the city of New York.
Yep. But
now here you go. Along those lines, though, that makes a lot of sense.
Religion has been, and God has been forced into our political and governmental system.
Oh, yes, because do you not hear all the time that the great Christian George Washington or the great Catholic Thomas Jefferson, they were all deists. George Washington converted on his deathbed to Christianity.
But I also believe that they were followers of a form of paganism.
Yeah, they were deists.
Is that what deist is?
They worship deities.
Deism is
a pagan religion.
Okay, yeah. They worshipped multiple gods, right? Or something like that. I don't know. They were deists. Obviously, Brian, they were deists. We've even talked about deists on this show before, too. That's what's fucking the worst part about that. That's the worst part about me on that.
Right. That's the worst part about Nick Tesla, ladies and gentlemen.
I got it, like, literally, maybe, what? Maybe... I got one more fact for us, but then I got maybe
fact.
5 other things I wanted to read and touch on because they're important.
Nick wants to touch things.
Oh, man, come on. I know that one. Okay, right?
Let's hear it.
In South Carolina, you can be fined for not denouncing the evils of intemperance on the 4th Friday of every October.
Interesting.
And speaking of the fourth Friday in October, which I'm sure it's not the fourth Friday in this October. If it is, that's definitely God talking to us. But I don't know if you care to join me. I'd like to make it happen. I'm going out to California to the spot where they filmed the Hilldale neighborhood in Back to the Future 2.
Oh.
And I want to go to Hilldale on the date that the DeLorean came to 2015.
Well, the
That was
fourth...
October 24th, I believe.
Well, the fourth Friday of October this year is actually the 23rd.
Oh,
24th is Saturday.
Oh, man, I was so close. Or I guess South Carolina or somebody was so close. God was, I don't know.
But you're near there. You're getting there.
That was my last factual cracktual for the day. I had some stuff I had written down.
I'm just going to throw this out there
Beyonce,
because
right?
it
Beyonce.
should be said just to reinforce it. Ron Paul and Rand Paul are two different people.
Yeah, they are.
I'm just leaving it at that.
Rand Paul's sucking the establishment's dick. And the sad part is, I think he said it on the Daily Show last night. I can't believe I'm getting any credit for hearing that from him. But or no, it was a chick. It was a chick on the Daily Show or something. They're interviewing her, and they said that the one thing they do have in common, or no, Rand Paul is carrying on the legacy of not being president. His father's legacy of not being president, and it's like that's kind of fucked up when it comes to Ron Paul, but it's kind of true when it comes to Rand Paul. He ain't gonna be a fucking president.
True.
He ain't gonna be.
More breaking news from RT.
Breaking news.
Breaking news from RT.
Burning to the ground. What do we got?
At approximately 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, April the 28th, 200 girls and 93 women rescued in Nigerian army raids on Boko Haram strongholds.
I thought this was breaking Baltimore news.
No, this was just breaking news in general.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's kind of cool. They rescued a bunch of those girls that got kidnapped last year.
I think it was all just a psyop anyway.
Well, even if it was just a psyop, the girls are home. We brought the girls home.
Dude, you know what? Nerd is the new cool. Yeah, they did bring the girls home. It's only a shame they couldn't bring home the 43 students in Mexico.
It's a shame they couldn't bring home all the innocents that were killed in Obama's drone strikes. Oh!
Can I get one of your brownies there, pal?
You sure can, sir.
We've got some pot brownies today. We're getting all stoned up. Oh, thank you very much.
No, that would be nice. I actually could go for, all joking aside, all marijuana references aside, I could actually go for a brownie. I haven't had a legit good brownie in a while. You know, you go to 7-Eleven, they have those brownies. They're always hard and fucking shitty. And then, like...
I'm sorry, folks. I don't know what 7-Eleven he goes to, but I've gone to 7-Eleven on many different occasions and gotten 7-Eleven fucking brownies. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like a lot of the shit 7-Eleven carries, especially their fresh shit. But I used to love their cheeseburger big bites until I kept on getting pieces of bone in it. And it's like, that's how you know it's not right. But it's so good. The brownies at 7-Eleven, Brian?
Yes.
Have always been my favorite brownies I've ever had almost anywhere. The most luscious, most like decadent.
See, you know
brownie.
what I like?
If you want a good brownie, though, if you really want a good brownie, and it's, I think overall most people would say it's a good brownie. I'm also talking about the 7-Eleven I used to go to all the time in Delaware. But if you want a good brownie, go to Wawa. Wawa's got some pretty good brownies.
Oh, I like those Entenmann's, the big brownie sheet cake looking thing.
Then, yeah,
but they get pricey.
They get pricey, and then you're also taking in all those, I don't want to say artificial chemicals.
But
you're preservatives. You're taking in preservatives, whereas those brownies,
on sugar overload.
when you're seeing a brownie that's packaged in just like a regular pack, hey, that could have been packaged 3 weeks ago for all we know. But it looks a lot more like it's packaged for that day or the next day, and after that, it's getting tossed.
True.
You know. Whereas when you see an Entenmann's cake, that thing could be sitting there for 2 months before somebody buys it.
That's true.
And it's got preservatives, so maybe it can sit there for 2 months and it ain't going to get nobody sick. But it's like, I don't want those fucking preservatives. I'd rather have a fresh brownie that was made 2 days ago. You know, and it's still like fresh tasting. Entenmann's put some shit in their shit to make it fresh tasting 2 months down the line. It's like, fuck that. That ain't true.
I like to believe, though, that we're still getting it when it's...
That's like eating a plastic plant.
Even with all that crap in it, I like to believe we're getting it when it's quote-unquote still fresh because of our proximity to the Entenmann's bakery.
You gotta stay fresh. Yep. All right.
So, yeah.
I'm just going to read what I have here.
That's what we got on brownies, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what we had on brownies. Yeah, that was crazy. I think we touched on that before, didn't we? You drink a beer with Bush, you'd smoke a blunt with Obama, you'd do a line with fucking Bill. Would chicks get their nails done with Hillary? Or maybe go out for a ladies' night at the club with Hillary?
I think I would not want to be seen in public anywhere with Hillary.
I think they'd go bench lifting with fucking Hillary.
Right? Go bench.
You get some fucking some beefy chicks like, let's go bench lifting. Let's do this.
No, I bet you Hillary's probably the type.
Edna.
Hillary's probably the type.
Let's go bench lifting.
I can see her get a few drinks in her. Let me make some phone calls. We're gonna play some mailbox baseball with the presidential limo.
You know what would be funny? A show. Especially if she became president, a fictional show like Lil Bush, right, about Hillary Clinton and Hillary Swank, and call it the two Hillarys, and they're both just the most annoying people on earth, but they're best friends, and they go around, they just annoy everybody together.
Well, you could throw a porn star Hillary Scott in there and have the three Hillarys.
I don't know. Hillary Scott is not a well enough known name.
This is true, but you got to do something in there to...
No, Hillary Swank and Hillary Clinton are two perfectly weird enough people to anchor a show together.
Yeah.
They don't need nobody else in there. It's like the Odd Couple, even though
I'm not big into reality television, but I think that show would be a success.
All right. If I touched on any of this before, Brian, I need you to tell me, I think we touched on that, all right? Because maybe I did. Weapons manufacturing lobbyists tell politicians, as many as they can, to promote and push for war, and they will get kickbacks and forms of capital.
Well, we know that.
Forms of capital or even a flat-out check each time you do.
Smedley Butler, war is a racket.
You're not letting me finish. That's what's funny. Problem is, they're basically asking politicians to sacrifice soldiers and foreign citizens' lives. Also, weapons manufacturers can make as much money as possible, i.e., check out war is a racket. He's like, war is a racket! I was like 3 sentences away.
I knew it!
Like this guy, we're on the same page.
See, I thought that thing was going to go somewhere else with that, and I thought they were going to... These are your notes. Never mind. I thought you were reading that off of something.
These are my notes that I was taking. I got to get back to doing. I was taking notes almost on a daily basis. When some shit came to my mind, I tried to just get the thought out on the paper and let it go. Because a lot of times I'll get the thought out in my mind. If I don't get it down on paper, 10 minutes later, that thought is gone. How many times does it happen to me live on air? You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's a thought.
I lose.
Here's a thought. There's a lot of documents the government doesn't want you to read. And Jesse Ventura put together 63 of them and 63 documents the government doesn't want you to read.
Brian. You are.
Which brings us to our plug of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We got to plug our sponsors.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, today's show brought to you by Racism. It's a riot.
Creating events like Baltimore for over 40 years.
Yep. Check out Racism today. It's a riot.
Racism.org.
It's a funky bunch, I'll tell you what. And in all seriousness,
we are not racist. We don't.
No, we're not racist. But you know what?
That was all sarcasm.
No. You know what that?
Satire.
If anybody doesn't catch exactly what that is basically our rendition of anytime there's anything remotely racist that happens in the news and is at all.
And sometimes not
news,
even racist
that is
at all.
Mainstream media.
They'll tell you it's racist.
If you want to look at, if you watch TV kind of like with your They Live glasses on, that's basically when that news story comes on. Racism today in racism news. That's what they're saying, even though they're not saying those words. That's basically what they're saying. They're all excited to tell you about the newest thing of racism and how it's still around. And
I believe it was Morgan Freeman.
Did we talk about who do you hear talk about solutions though to racism?
I believe it was Morgan Freeman. Now, I could be wrong about this. I don't know. It may have been someone else, another famous black actor. But I think it was Morgan Freeman. He was being interviewed on racism. It was during Ferguson.
Yeah.
And the guy interviewing him asked, well, how do you stop racism? How do you prevent it from spreading? And he goes, media like you stop talking about it.
Yeah, he's right, though. What the fuck was her name?
And then he goes on to say, of course, you'll never fully eliminate it because you'll always have people with feelings of racism, but if the media stops pushing it in people's faces, it won't be so prevalent in people's minds. And
he's right, but then again, you can't ignore it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's not saying totally ignore it, but he's pointing out that what we just pointed out, the way they push it and push
the way they are
and
pushing
push
it, they sensationalize it, and that's honestly, Brian, that's what I'm constantly trying to convey to you is Alex Jones's way of conveying news to you. He sensationalizes things so much sometimes, and it's not necessary, and it's really doing what he thinks is having a positive effect by informing people. It's having the opposite effect because it's informing people but making them angry instead. And when you get angry, are you thinking of a solution?
Well,
no, you're thinking about how you're going to you're pissed off
well,
about it.
Elaborate on that real quick. It's making strong-willed people angry. Some lesser-willed people, they might be getting scared shitless. Like, oh my God, they're about to kick my door down.
I still call
I need guns. I need survival.
In my opinion, Brian,
I need to
90% of those people that are getting angry after watching it or getting angry because of the information that's being shared, those people are still weak-willed people. Because anger is not... You should be able to have control over anger because of those things. And that's like, in all reality, if you have anger towards something, you're not thinking about a solution. You're not thinking about, like, if you're thinking about a solution, you're thinking about a violent solution. Like, I ran into a dude that constantly, you actually know this dude. We won't mention his name or who he is, really, but I ran into this dude fucking the other day that seems to like to bother us out on the street sometimes, and he's just one of those dudes who's always around asking for change, and he's not homeless, but maybe he is, I don't know, but he seems like he's somewhat of a normal dude, but is a little bit annoying, constantly wants to talk. Well, the other day he's like telling me about some shit going on with him and his girl, and how his girl's got some guy over and this and that, and she's using the deep fryer that he bought 2 weeks ago, and her and the dude are making food in the deep fryer, and that's so fucked up, and he feels like he's so pissed off, he feels like he might just want to go to Camden and grab a gun and come back and do some shit.
Over a deep fryer?
And I'm like, dude.
Over a deep fryer?
But it's all fucking deep fryer, Brian. It's all a fucking deep fryer. So, like, when you see Alex Jones getting people angry, like, yes, it feels justifiable. And some things, yes, there's a small percentage of it that is justifiable. But most of it is just a deep fryer. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't thinking of a solution and how he's going to get past that shit. He was thinking about his fucking deep fryer and wanting to kill a motherfucker because he's using the deep fryer that he bought for him and his girlfriend's using the deep fryer with this dude, and she's going to show him or he's going to show fucking her by fucking shooting this dude, this and that. And I was just like, dude. And
over a
you know
deep
what
fryer.
I told him? I was like, dude, what does your gut instinct tell you? What does your gut tell you? Like, what does your soul, what does your soul tell you right now? That you don't really want to do that. No, I was programmed by the military. The military tells me to eliminate. And I was like...
Programmed by the military.
Yeah, exactly. You're programmed, and that's what your mind is programmed to do. But your mind is not your soul. And even when your mind is programmed to do something like that, there's still a piece of your soul that is like, no. You don't really want to do that shit.
It's like going to Baltimore and having a riot.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I can go get a free TV and a free whatever and get away with it. But then it's like, no, that's just wrong. That's just the fundamentally wrong thing to do.
They're not in touch with their soul? Is that what that means? Those people rioting are not in touch with their soul?
It's possible. I believe Obama said that. I hate to agree with something Barack Obama says, but he recently, I think today he said that.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
Baltimore needs to do some soul searching.
If this show is still on the air when he's not president, which I fully expect it to be, even if we're doing it over Skype because I'm in a different state and shit. But hey, if we got to make it work, we'll make it work. But, all right, if this show is still on the air and he's not president, or he doesn't end up third term for some reason or somehow, which was mentioned at the
correspondence dinner, that would be creepy.
We're going to get him on our show, dude. And you're going to be respectful and nice to him. Right?
I will if you get him.
Just as you would with a boss that you've had that is still your boss, but you don't really like and agree with a lot of the stuff he's done. You still have to be respectful because you still want to keep your job. You still have to be respectful to
Mr.
Barry
President.
Soetoro.
Yes, Mr.
Still have to be respectful to Barry Soetoro.
Yes, Mr.
Because we don't want him walking out and saying, you know what, screw you guys. We want to actually have a legitimate and try and keep it laid back. Like, I don't want it to be tension filled with you like,
yo, what's good, Barry?
Like,
how are you
dreams
doing?
of my father, this and that, and Frank Marshall Davis. Like, I don't want. It won't be what the interview's about. The interview will be more about getting to know the real person. who Obama is, and seeing if there is really a real person there, or if he's just politician.
Frank Marshall Davis.
He could just be politician through and through, which could be true. But
he's a mix of Lolo Soetoro and Frank Marshall Davis. I don't want to bring up all that shit. I want to know the person he is as far as, like, morally, the type of person he is, not your political decisions and this and that, and your political career and this and that. No, it's like, I want to look past that. I'd like to sit down, fucking smoke a blunt with him, especially if it's legal. Who knows? Might be fucking legal. Might have the ability to sit down and smoke a blunt with him. So I'd like to talk. I'd like to talk football with Obama.
How we talk on the fucking show. Have him come on and be able to just join us and talk on.
I'd like to talk football with Obama.
People's heads up. Just how you see Jimmy Carter. You know how many people saw Jimmy Carter while he was president? They're like, that motherfucker's evil. That motherfucker's evil. You know he's behind all this shit. You know, like, still there are people who knew what was going on and what was fucked up with our country back then, and we're looking at Jimmy Carter like he's the motherfucker. But nowadays, those same people would sit down and have a beer with Jimmy Carter and be like, yeah, hey, what's going on, Jim? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he's not president anymore.
Exactly.
He's moved past that. Yeah, he might still have Secret Service that watches over him.
I don't know if I would sit down
and have a lot of information. He might still get reports.
Well, hold on. I don't know if I'd sit down and chill with W. But
I'd
Obama,
sit down and chill with W in a heartbeat, man.
I don't know if I'd chill with W.
I think W would be like one of my best friends. I grew up around W. I think he would have been one of my best friends, and I would have been blown away. Like, I would have been so proud of him. Like, I don't know how my dumbass friend ended up president. I guess because his dad was president.
Probably because his daddy.
Good for him, but I don't know. Honestly, I think W is probably one of the cooler people that you could ever meet. Whereas you talk about, like, a celebrity and how there's a lot of celebrities who are just like dickheads and blow you off, and sometimes they're not really trying to be dickheads. They're just busy and they got a lot of shit to do, and their mind isn't on, like, saying hi to you and being happy with the fans and this and that. But I think
Eminem's a good example of that.
W is not like, oh, I got to be there for my fans, or I gotta make sure I'm friendly to everybody and this and that. That's just who he is.
Yeah.
He's just fucking Mr. Friendly, like,
True.
hey, let's just have a beer, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's funny, I'll tell you what. Yeah, he just seems like you would fucking end up, like, cracking a smile or cracking a few laughs out hanging out with W.
So then Cheney turns
and honestly,
to shoot the quail, and he shoots George in the face.
I think it's a little more of a dry humor, but I think Obama would kind of be the same way, where he'd have you chuckling a little bit too, because policies, yada yada yada. You'd be thinking like this dude who's not president anymore. You know what I'm saying? Ow.
I remember. I think it was the Steelers-Packers Super Bowl when they were interviewing Obama beforehand, and he was talking football with the guy, and he actually seemed to know a little bit. I'd like to talk football with Barack Obama.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to talk football with him, but maybe he's just a zombie too, and he's just not a full zombie, you know, but maybe like he likes all the zombie stuff, you know?
I like football and hockey. I don't like all the zombies.
Brian does like zombie stuff. I just touched on a sore spot with Brian. Hey, but you know,
and video games.
Don't we each? Speaking of Mark Dice, you piece of shit. Don't we each have? And I'm sure Mark Dice does. That's why I'm bringing this.
We're idiots and morons.
Don't we all
Nick.
have?
We are idiots and morons and sheeple.
None of us should sit here and act like we're fucking perfect and that we don't have our own little fucking zombie traits ourselves. But there's certain zombie traits and certain zombie ways that you can be where you're really wasting your life, and you're really like you're almost doing yourself and your family.
You want an example of this? Here's an example.
Disservice.
Here's an example of what Nick's describing. Mark Dice uploaded a bunch of videos on Black Friday of him driving around dressed like Santa Claus with a bullhorn, driving around the people that were in line for Black Friday sales, calling them idiots and morons and saying they're ruining the world and all this crap.
He thinks that's his shtick. He thinks that's his shtick. That's not really Mark Dice. See, that's just his shtick. And like with Alex Jones, the freaking out thing, that's not really Alex Jones. That's his fucking shtick.
That's Bill Hicks, man.
The more you say that, dude, it's weird because at first I was like, the more he says that, the more it just fucking aggravates me. But the more you fucking say it now, you're not going to push me to really look into it. You're just going to push me.
Watch that.
No, you're going to push me to believe it for 5 years, deep down in the back of my mind, and then one day something's going to push me to really like fully look into it, and I'm going to be convinced from that day forward that it's true. Like I'm not the person who decides something's true and then fucking it goes and fucking finds out whether it's true or not. Like I'll decide it's true and store that in the back of my head and never really admit it to anybody or never really base any of my decisions off it or anything like that. But then one day I'll come back to it and be like, I really need to evaluate this truth that I hold back here and find out really if it really is the truth. And then
to anyone still listening, just Just go on Google and type in Alex Jones is Bill Hicks, or Bill Hicks is Alex Jones.
Yeah, you got to remember also our constituents, or our fan base, I guess you can say, our audience base here on 3NN is not going to be. We have to really try and remember that as much as we can, or a little more. Because I think on this show, more than any other show the past couple shows, we've brought up Alex Jones and Mark Dice and shit. And a lot of people don't know who Alex Jones and Mark Dice are. And in all reality, if people don't know who they are, I don't want to be the people that turn anybody. I don't want to be the person that turns anybody, especially the 3NN crowd, because we fucking touch on some fucking crazy
The brainstorming crowd probably
the
already
brainstorming
knows.
crowd knows all about
If
him.
they don't know who Alex Jones is,
you want to go check their shit
then-
out, you can if you want, but they ain't what we're about. Fuck fucking Mark Dice and fuck Alex Jones. I know he's a fan of Alex Jones, no offense, Brian, but fuck.
I'm a fan of his documentaries.
Fuck both of them. But
And
then again,
if you
know
can
what?
get around his particular spin on things,
You know what
he
I think?
does put out good information.
He might be a nice person when it comes down to it. Joe Rogan's friends with him and shit. You know, he probably is a fucking cool person to fucking hang out
Jesse
with. and shit.
Ventura and Willie Nelson hang out with him. He probably is a cool
What
dude.
I'm saying is, I don't like personas. You, Brian, on this show, and this is what I enjoy about doing a show with you. And this is what I didn't enjoy about doing a show with Swamp. No offense, Swamp, if you're listening. But I don't want to do something fake. I don't want to pretend to be this or pretend to be that, or, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to put a persona forward and pretend to be that persona. There's a guy online, Laszlo Quagmire. And
Why have
if you
I
look
heard
up
that
Laszlo,
name?
because he's a somewhat known, or not known, but he's a radio announcer. He's been a radio announcer plenty of times or before, right? But if you hear Laszlo Quagmire talk, he talks like this. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God, I cannot believe that is happening like
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Can you believe what is going on down in Baltimore today, Brian? It is one of the most insane things that you probably will ever see in your lifetime. Like, that's how he talks, and he's got that, like, really good fucking radio voice, but it's like, it's a persona. Alex Jones, persona. Mark Dice, I yell at people, I call people morons. And
You're a moron. You're
persona.
an idiot
I
because
don't
you want
like
to spend less
fucking
money than
personas.
everyone
Do you want to know
else.
why I really like Joe Rogan show? And I've always told you to go check out Joe Rogan fucking Experience podcast or whatever the fuck it's called. Because when I watch that show, I'm watching somebody be themselves and be entertaining. Whereas when you watch Joe Rogan stand up, Joe Rogan's putting on a persona as I gotta be funny and I gotta portray and come across as this. When he's doing his show, Joe Rogan Experience, it's just Joe Rogan fucking hanging out. He's just being himself. He's not like, I'm not saying there's no filter, because who knows? He might fucking stop himself from talking about certain things or this or that. But he's still Joe Rogan. Or he's still like being himself. And that's what I love about our show is we're being ourselves. We're not putting out a persona. We're not trying to be something, you know what I'm saying? We're not trying to fill a niche market and people like us if we're like this. No. If people are going to like us, they're going to like us for ourselves. And it's not about, oh, well, we don't have to work at it, and we don't have to put on our best faces or put on our radio voices and this and that. It's like, it's not about that. It's about being ourselves and being upfront and honest with people. When
Yeah.
we don't know exactly what we're talking about,
We
don't
say
know
that.
the full facts, we say that.
Yep.
We don't bullshit people, you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that you're going to get from our kind of shows that you're never ever going to get from Alex Jones, because he's got a persona. Like, that's what I find interesting. If you find interviews with Alex Jones that aren't fully regarding conspiracies, interviews with Alex Jones that are put out not by Alex Jones, but by people that are friends with Alex Jones and have done interviews with him, like Jesse Ventura or Joe Rogan, where Alex Jones is just talking like a normal guy. And it's like, well, why can't you do that 99% of the time on your show? And when there's something really crazy, like maybe what's going on in Baltimore right now, you start fucking getting a little bit fucking worked up.
Yeah,
and fucking
then you
outraged.
come with the big red face,
Because
crazy.
it's his fucking persona, dude.
Yeah.
People love that. People eat it up, and he's like, I'm feeding you this, you know what I'm saying? And it's almost, it's not about really bringing them the truth. It's about feeding his ego and feeding that persona.
Here's a perspective that nowadays, here's a perspective I watch his show with when he's hosting it, because half the time he's not the host anymore. When he's on there and he starts going crazy and off the wall, I look at that as the comedy element to alleviate the serious stuff that he talks about.
Yeah, but then call yourself a fucking comedian, Alex Jones. Don't call yourself a fucking info warrior.
Bill Hicks was a comedian.
Yeah, but Alex Jones, if you're Bill Hicks, then I can understand, but it's not working for you, pal. It's not working for you, Alex Jones. Fuck you. Anyway, Brian, we're gonna have to wrap this up. There's a couple things that I want to touch on. Everybody out there, look up the Huey Long story. I used to think JFK and Ron Paul, like especially Ron Paul, were our most honest politicians and most like literally like groundbreaking like eyes to the future politicians, not eyes to the past and the old ways of doing things and keeping that in place and this and that. Huey Long. If you ever get a chance, take a look at Huey Long. Woo! Some of his speeches, Huey Long told some shit. I'd like to do a superhero type show one day with Huey Long, Ron Paul, and JFK, and maybe even Dennis Kucinich as like a part timer, and then have some other people like Vermin Supreme and Jimmy McMillan and other people. Cynthia McKinney could stop in every now and then.
New Jersey Weed Man.
The Liberty Squad or some shit like that. I don't know. New Jersey Weed Man, yeah, maybe, but he's not really in politics. True. I'd like to see him actually get himself elected, but he stands. I do appreciate that he stands to what he believes in and is never going to change it, regardless of whether or not it would get him elected. I think he knows he doesn't really have a shot at ever getting elected. It's more just for the publicity and getting the message out. But he will never, ever, even if somebody told him, hey, you might have a shot if you change this, this, and that, he'll never, ever change his shit for somebody else. He's going to stick to what he believes in, and he's not going to sell out. And, you know, that's why I look at Alex Jones. I look at that as selling out. When you're putting on that persona and this and that, this shit's that important that you can't
I think
really sell
selling out was when he started selling products other than books and documentaries, like high-quality water filters, and not even so much that, but InfoWars proprietary coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, like, really, dude?
Yeah, that's
really, dude?
No, but you got to understand, you got to make money. Like, and to be completely honest with you, probably within the next 90 days or 2-3 months.
Oh, we're going to have 3NN coffee?
No, we're going to have 3NN t-shirts, and we're going to have brainstorming t-shirts.
I don't mind that.
To be honest with you,
when you start marketing your own brand of coffee,
to us and to help us get a better studio and get better equipment and have a better setup, you know what I'm saying? It's just a way to help the show be a little bit better, like the PBS. Yes. This is a show.
We are funded by you,
by users or viewers like you. All right, look, Brian. Right, I want to touch on this real quick.
Wrong.
I don't really know if this is all real or all just a figment of my 17-year-old imagination. Okay.
Okay.
The way my brain works. If everybody's seen Mr. Nobody, you have a very strong idea of where I'm coming from. But if you haven't, let me just explain to you. The way my brain works is constantly, and it's part of, like, I guess, ADD, and it's part of, like, the flashing images and changing channels constantly in my head, right? And I don't do it as much as I used to. I used to do it a lot, especially when I was younger. Hence my 17-year-old imagination. I think about all possible outcomes, as many possible outcomes as I can, as far as from where I am right now, where I might end up, you know? And like a lot of times it wasn't, well, what's the outcome if I do this or if I do that, if I do this. It's more of just like letting my imagination play out a whole little life for me in my head and where I end up. And I'm 50 years old and I'm a retired police officer, you know what I'm saying? I'm a musician, a struggling musician, or a starving artist or some shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I play out my futures. Well, who am I going to marry? Like, don't we all do that when we're teenagers and young men? We look at a girl and we think, like, if we really like that girl, like, we imagine to ourselves, like, what would it be like marrying that girl and growing old with that girl and, like, all that. Like, especially when you got a mind that races and thinks about a million different things, it's not out of the ordinary to think about all the different possibilities, right? But when you think about all those different possibilities, what if each and every time you think about all those different possibilities, you're creating new timelines for your own life? And your consciousness splits up into all those timelines, right? So how do I know that what I'm experiencing right now isn't literally one of those imaginary timelines that I made up? Now, what I just said, or backtrack what I just said as far as your consciousness splitting up into all of those. Your consciousness stays on. Your consciousness stays in one reality and continues on one reality and can choose different branches and go like this and that, right? But all those other realities do simultaneously exist.
Okay.
And all of their futures exist because you've thought about their futures. You've envisioned and imagined their futures. So I've imagined me living in this apartment and having this desk and having this show and doing all that.
Okay, now here's my question to you.
All just
how do I take my active consciousness from this reality to one of the other versions that's currently simultaneously happening?
You don't, because this is not, you're not the real consciousness of your body. You're actually just a projection of your original consciousness, but you actually don't exist. All those branches, there's only one really thing, you know what I'm saying? You can't jump from branch to branch.
See.
You can only choose branches as you go along. But what I'm saying is, as you go up in the tree, you're moving along, you're over here, you're actually one of the choices that could have been made and one of the possibilities that could have been made over here. But you can't jump to over there because the main shit is staying on its course. Mm-hmm. You're one of these others, so you don't even really exist. Hence where sometimes I say, well, how do we know this isn't all just a dream and none of us really exist? Well, that's kind of that same theory or same thought is, how do we know this isn't all just our imagination, looking forward and imagining all of this and putting all this together, you know? And we make up slight little things, like I'll have a desk like this, an apartment like that, a cat like that, a TV like that, right? And we don't even realize it, but the billions of processes that are going on in our brain fill in the whole other reality. So we're actually just living in a filled-in reality from imagination in the brain. But none of this is really real. And poof, one day we'll just disappear. When we die, we're not the actual consciousness dying. The real consciousness goes on for another long time. But we are a little divination of that consciousness.
I gotcha.
I don't fucking know, Brian. I think some crazy shit sometimes.
You do.
All right,
but that's what makes you Nick.
I just want to touch on immortality real quick, all right? Yes, there is such a thing as immortality. Can a jellyfish unlock the secret of immortality? Brian, what?
Can it?
After more than 4,000 years, almost since the dawn of recorded time, when Utnapishtim told Gilgamesh that the secret to immortality lay in a coral found on the ocean floor, man finally discovered eternal life in 1988. He found it, in fact, on the ocean floor. The discovery was made unwittingly by Christian Sommer, a German marine biologist student in his early 20s. He was spending the summer in Rapallo, a small city on the Italian Riviera, where exactly 1 century earlier, Friedrich Nietzsche conceived, thus spoke Zarathustra, everything goes, everything comes back, eternally rolls the wheel of being, everything dies, everything blossoms again. Right? Now,
okay.
Sommer was conducting research on hydrozoans, small invertebrates that, depending on their stage in the life cycle, resemble either a jellyfish or a soft coral. Every morning, Sommer went snorkeling in the turquoise water off the cliffs of Portofino. He scanned the ocean floor for hydrozoans, gathering them with the plankton nets. Among the hundreds of organisms he collected was a tiny, relatively obscure species known to biologists as Turritopsis dohrnii. Today, it is more commonly known as the immortal jellyfish.
Interesting.
Yes, and basically what I'll tell you is in the human body, we have a finite number of times that our cells can regenerate.
Yes.
So cells die off. Remember I've told you before, is every 5 years, your body, every 5 to 7 years, your body replaces all the cells. So you're literally not the same physical being that you were 5 to 7 years ago, right?
Correct.
Now, on that same note, the reason that happens is because cells die off and new cells replace them. Well, eventually, cells die off and there's no more regeneration. The regeneration process slows to a halt.
Yeah.
And we die.
We covered that aspect.
Exactly. We die. But this jellyfish, right, has cells that have an unlimited amount of regeneration, where we have a finite amount of regeneration. They have cells that have an unlimited amount of regeneration.
Well, actually, I should say many mainstream religions state that only God or that particular religion's God has the power to live eternally. Are you saying God is a jellyfish?
I like that, Brian. God could be a jellyfish.
God could be a jellyfish.
I think Brian just named 3NN28. Good going, Brian. Good going. Is God a jellyfish? Is that what you said? Or is maybe God a jellyfish? What did you say?
Is God a jellyfish?
Is God a jellyfish? I think that might mean God's a jellyfish. All right. Oh,
is that thunder?
No, that's somebody's badass car, man.
That's either thunder or a bomb.
And on that same note, all right, we'll wind it up with this, Brian, because it's really freaking crazy. All right. Henrietta Lacks and her immortal cells. Okay? Henrietta Lacks, she ended up getting diagnosed with, I believe it was colon cancer, right?
Okay.
And she had gotten colon cancer, went for treatments and all that, and they had done biopsies and taken samples out of her cancer, right? And I believe the cancer ended up killing her. And after studying this, the cancer cells, or studying these cells that were actually her cells, right? They found that these cells, they weren't cancer cells. These were other cells that they had taken from around the cancer cells, right? They found that these cells, put in a petri dish, continued to regenerate over and over and over and over again infinitely.
Really?
And the polio vaccine was actually created, and part of the reason we have the polio vaccine is because of Henrietta Lack's immortal cells. So that's actually the only case that has ever been found where human cells regenerated unlimited. So it is
interesting.
Technically possible for not. Then she wasn't immortal. It's not like her whole body, all the cells in her body regenerated like unlimited, but maybe they did, and maybe that disease, had she not gotten that disease, she could have lived on indefinitely until some sort of disease took over and destroyed her. Because it's not like if your cells can regenerate indefinitely that a disease or illness isn't going to kill you or hurt you, you know? It still has every possibility of killing you or hurting you. It just means...
Or does it?
No, it means that your skin's not going to age, that you're what do you call it? Like, you're not going to die of natural causes. That's when they say you die of natural causes, it means your body's shutting down, your body's giving up because it's running out of the ability to create new cells. Well, if you can create new cells, then your body's not going to die of old age. But I can still believe that, or I would still believe that if you get a disease or an illness or cancer or something like that, it could still kill you, you know?
I think it would depend on how fast your cells can regenerate versus how fast
well, it's
the
also
disease
depending
is.
on the cells that it is regenerating. If it's
True.
If it's generating white blood cells or immune system cells, then that's a whole nother story. All right. On that note, Henrietta Lacks. Everybody check out Henrietta Lacks.
You need to chill.
Thank you for Unsolved Mysteries. Why are you interrupting me, Brian? No.
Why are you interrupting him, Mimsy?
You guys got to understand, man. Especially on 3NN, he's our third non-nerd. He's just gonna kind of do his thing, linger around. Sometimes he'll sleep under the couch. Sometimes he'll sit on your lap.
Sometimes he'll try to attack my chair.
Look out the window. Sometimes he'll bother the fuck out of me. Sometimes he'll just go get something to eat. Sometimes he'll scratch something. Sometimes he'll sleep. All right. On that note,
But he's still Mimsy.
he is.
And he's pretty cute. He's a cute little kitty.
You told me to switch the map and switch the map. So I switched the map and switched the map. Mimsy! All right. On that note, everybody, this has been a great 3NN 28. Check us out, facebook.com/3NN podcast. Also, check out facebook.com/brainstorming podcast.
Great show.
It is a great show. Check that out Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. Check this show out Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. You can also check out facebook.com, I believe, facebook.com/whereweliedto, and youtube.com/whereweliedto if you want to check out all our past episodes. Feel free to subscribe and like our video. Your support keeps us going, so thank you very much.
Show tips for either show can be sent to...
Show tips? No, we don't take tips. We're not scabs like that. And we'll be asking for, we'll have some sort of fundraiser set up within the next few months or something. But you know what? We're going to start getting some fucking names on here. And then people are going to be like, holy shit, I want to see that keep going. Because most people don't know who we are. They might like our show, but they might not like it.
No,
enough
like show
to
tips, like news
to pull
tips,
money
or
out of
anything
shit.
you want to hear us talk about.
Oh, I thought he meant tips like money. I don't know why
No.
I'm thinking of money. Oh, yeah. If you got any kind of topics or anything like that you'd like us to cover, or any tips.
There's a million
you're
ways
making it
to
sound
tell
like
us,
We're,
so tell
we're
us.
action news. Like, call the tip line.
Call the 3NN tip line.
Call the 3NN tip line. And also, anybody out there that is interested in coming on the show, we do have a Skype account. Well, I will not say it on here. But if you're interested in coming on, check us out. And Tom Green, get the fuck on our show. All right? I ain't got time for your bullshit. Get on our show, and we'll get your daddy some sausage. All right? Yeah. You know, fucking, man, I was watching some shit with him. Fucking, he did a Monica Lewinsky special. He did a cancer. He had cancer of the nut. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Cancer taken out. I loved his show. How in the background there was always Phil drinking his coffee or whatever, sitting behind the window, just not saying a fucking word. That's going to be our third non-nerd, Brian. I hope you know that, right? We're going to end up with, that dawned on me as I'm watching Tom Green. Our third non-nerd is literally, we're getting somebody to just sit behind us and like just play with their phone or not do a fucking thing, but they're on every single show just sitting there. I'd rather them really pay attention to what we're saying and, you know, laugh if I say something funny or if you say something funny, but I don't know. I'm starting to have a feeling that the only kind of third non-nerd we're going to get to come on a regular basis is somebody who can just sit here and
We have Mimsy
chill.
for that.
Yeah, we got Mimsy for that, but you know, Mimsy, we can't force him to just sit right there and watch everything.
Good point.
You know, I could strap him down, but then he's just going to fight and make it a hellish experience. Whereas we can bring in somebody else and they might
We could adopt a child from another country and just sit him right there.
I've got the genius idea, and I'll share it with you off air because it might actually happen. And if it happens, people are going to be like, holy fuck, that was a genius idea. So everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week.
See you next Wednesday.
Keep your head out of the shit in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? I'd say maybe go to the Eastern Shore to like catch a nice weekend at the beach or something. Go up to Dewey. I don't know, but get the fuck out of Baltimore. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, you don't
and
wanna be in
people,
Baltimore.
chill. Just chill. All right? Just chill the fuck out. You're only helping the man and the system that has fucking held you down and put their fucking foot on your throat. You're only helping them by fucking freaking out and fucking looting and rioting and shit like that.
Seriously.
There's a much more...
Destroying your own city isn't going to solve anything.
There's a much more effective way to get your message across and get your point across. I do understand you want to let them know you're pissed off and you want to fucking make your fucking...
But destroying your own city and attacking people that aren't involved directly isn't helping.
And gangs, I have nothing to say to you because you're going to do what you want to do anyway, and I ain't stepping on your toes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Gangs,
seriously.
Gangs will fuck you up, man. You think about the cartels. What if the cartels in Mexico, our gangs in the United States start turning into the cartels like they are in Mexico, and it's just like, fuck, we got a problem here. You know what I'm saying? And we got so much money invested in the war on drugs. We don't have enough money
don't forget ISIS
to
right
focus
across
on
the
these
border.
gang killing cops. I don't know. Yeah, ISIS right across the border. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. We'll touch on that.
That's confirmed. That is confirmed.
I don't want to hear
ISIS is in Mexico.
I don't want to hear it, Brian. I don't want to hear it. I know. It is confirmed. All right, everybody have a great week, and we will see you next week. Thank you for joining us on our almost 2-hour show. 2-hour show. But you know you love it. I know, and sorry for being a weird show. Next week, don't miss
sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Don't miss 3NN29 Technogenesis, and don't miss 3NN30 New World Order. For life. And that's a wrestling quote, not where we do not support the actual New World Order if not it actually exists. All right, everybody have a great week. Thanks.
Later.
We love you, Baltimore. We love you. We love you. We love you. Goodbye. Farewell. All right, perfect timing.
The official podcast of Open Minds Everywhere. You are not crude matter. You are a free soul. A part of the cosmic muffin. Its energy surrounds you.